And Cortez in the blue. Cortez 43-9, 26 knockouts. He is the 10th ranked featherweight in the world, ranked by the WBA. His biggest victory, his last fight last October, knocked out one-time WBA super bantamweight champ Ricardo Cardona.
Right off the bat, you can see the difference in size. Oh, right hand.
And Jeff Chandler not bothered by the difference in size, landing on Cortez, who's looking to laugh it off.
Just when Cortez was getting frisky and thinking this was going to be easy, Chandler shows him why he's one of the top fighters in the world.
Despite his frustration with the bantamweight division, Chandler has become the richest bantamweight in history, a division that commanded in the area of $5,000 for the champion some 20 years ago. Chandler earned a record $200,000 for his last title defense, that 15-round decision over Gabby Canizales back in March.
No question about it. He is being bothered. Chandler is being bothered by the difference in size. He's letting the other guy take the play and just looking to pot shot like he did with that right hand. He has not figured out how to take the lead in this fight. KO Magazine this month has ranked him the 5th best fighter in the world for the year. The first being by unanimous choice, marvelous Marvin Hector.
That's the pound-for-pound poll that KO conducts each year. Jeff Chandler, well respected as a bantamweight. And the question is it a different story as he does move up in weight? And took the right hand from Cortez.
Well, here's one of those rounds where Cortez has done most of the work, but he went down, so the round will go to Chandler. Or an even round, depends on how you score it.
By Cortez, who has been landing on Chandler the final minute of this opening round. And now we're final seconds, round one. We'll be back after these words. But here's the knockdown of the first round, a short right hand delivered by Jeff Chandler. A flash knockdown, Hector Cortez able to get right back, and Cortez came on strong in the latter part of that first round. This is round two. Chandler in the red and Cortez in the blue.
Cortez actually won the round, had a very good round. I had to give it even because of the knockdown, but Cortez is actually, he's not afraid of Chandler. He's using his height and reach intelligently, and every once in a while he's popping them with right hands that Jolton Jeff is not used to seeing or feeling. It's curious, in the last 2 weeks, every fight we've had has had a first round knockdown. Chacon, Hargrove, Hector Cortez here, Mugabe. Everybody put everybody down in the first round.
Earlier on ringside, we saw Earl the Pearl Hargrove deck down King in round one, and then King was able to hold on. He came back strong, in fact, in the middle rounds, but Hargrove stopped King in round 9. Let us not confuse Don King, the fighter out of Indianapolis, Indiana, with the boxing promoter, Don King.
Another good right hand by Chandler. The exact same punch. Exactly the same. Now he's hurt his hand. Chandler's hurt his hand. He just leaned over to his corner and indicated that he'd hurt his right hand.
A short, choppy punch by Chandler, and I think he hurt his wrist.
Yeah, his wrist is more than his hand because he was pointing to that area. Either way, it's disastrous because he was going to need both hands with Hector Cortez here.
So Cortez put down in the first round, and again here in the second. Earlier in his career, Chandler knew little about leverage, strictly an arm puncher. As a result, stopped only one of his first 9 opponents and then changed his style. Some 4 years back, learned how to put his body into a punch. 3 successive knockouts resulted. Since then, he's been a dangerous knockout puncher.
I tell you what he is. He's a beautiful fighter is what he is. He's just a fighting machine. Everything that he does is just beautiful. He has not thrown that right hand but one time since he hurt it, and gingerly at that. Sometimes it's just a flash sprain where the ligaments feel bad for a round or so and then go away. If he has cracked it, however, that's bad news.
And we're coming to the end of the second round. Good uppercut by Cortez.
We're about to see the biggest news in small pickups. Ford's new V6.
All right, Bertie, here's Chandler knocking down Cortez with that short right hand in round 2. So Cortez going down to both the rounds 1 and 2, but Chandler appeared to hurt the right hand off that knockdown.
In the corner, he said it's hurting but feeling better. And the guy said, can you throw it? His corner man said, can you throw it? And Chandler said, yes, I'll try it. So, meantime, Hector's very active during these rounds, but it must be very frustrating for him. He's very active, doing good, and then gets knocked down by these flash right hands.
This is round 3, scheduled for 10, a super bantamweight bout. The WBA bantamweight champion, Jeff Chandler, in the ring. 33-year-old Hector Cortez out of Ecuador, now living in Los Angeles, in the blue. Cortez has boxed many of the best from 120 to 130 pounds. 2 years ago, he outpointed Rolando Navarrete, who later won the WBC junior lightweight title. Last year, a little spin move. Last year, Cortez knocked out Ricardo Cardona, the one-time super bantamweight champion.
You just saw an example of what happens when a very little fighter gets up into a bigger class with a tall fighter. He just got picked up like a rag doll and spun around. He's not going to out-muscle or out-physical Hector Cortez, but he will out-slick him.
Cortez has been a sparring partner for Rocky Lockridge. Trained with Lockridge as Lockridge was preparing for Pedrosa. In fact, many compare Cortez's style to Pedrosa, therefore he was working with Lockridge.
A lot of fighters do well with Chandler in the first 3 or 4 rounds. Seems like Chandler just likes to figure people out. He's a very economic man. He just doesn't believe in wasting punches. Then when he finally starts cooking, it is devastating to observe how accurately he's figured out his opponent. He's getting hit by right hands by Cortez, though. That's 2 right hands in a row. His left hand very low. Chandler talking to him.
Both Chandler and Cortez were very loose during the course of our taping interviews yesterday afternoon, but all business here today. Cortez going down in rounds 1 and 2. And Chandler has not used that right hand, has it cocked, but he hurt it off the knockdown of the second round. Champion, and moving up to the super bantamweight division. This is a non-title fight with a weight limit of 123 pounds. Cortez at 121 and a half, and Chandler came in at 121 3/4.
Chandler doesn't even want to talk about Wilfredo Gomez, who dream match that we would all love to see. He says, well, give me a couple of fights in this division and let me see how I feel before we start talking about Wilfredo Gomez. Very smart, very cool, professional head of Jeff Chandler.
Look out. Referee Joe Cortez showing his speed. In the past, Chandler never had problems with his weight. That is until recent bouts although some feel that he did not take opponents like Miguel Iriarte seriously. And that difficulty with the weight. He had been known to eat while on the way to the weigh-in, something that you have in common with Jeff Chandler.
I always eat before a weigh-in.
All right, Cortez on the attack, and he got tagged with the right hand, and with a showboat tactic by Chandler.
Chandler waiting to land that right hand.
That is part of the style of Jeff Chandler, looking to unnerve his opponent, waving a bar.
They have to comment on Hector Cortez's either courage or lack of good sense to go in to mix it up with Chandler having been down twice from that flash right hand.